For this part of the show, we will be talking live to HSBC about the global economic forecast. And right now on the line with me is Kanoksak Mokkamakkul, the head of the commercial banking of HSBC Thailand. สวัสดีครับคุณกนกศักดิ์
สวัสดีครับ
Yes, Kun Kanoksak, on the report of HSBC that I'm looking at right now, you have predicted the global trade growth for this year despite the crisis in Europe and as well as the U.S. economic slowdown. Let's talk in perspective here that the sentiment of the economy has shifted from the Western world to the eastern part in Asia here. So talking about Asia, how can Asia alone lift up the global trend here?
Thanks, Kap. Let me firstly talk about a little bit about this research paper that HSBC did. It's called HSBC Global Connections.
Sure.
And we basically did research and forecast up to 15 years of the global trade volume, of the details of that, what sector, what countries. And despite all the bad news in the market right now with the European and the U.S. situation and the natural disaster last year,
yes,
we see optimism in the growth of the global trade into the future. And actually, we expect the growth of the global trade to continue to grow, but at a slower pace for the next few years. But it's expected to turn the corner in 2014 and then continue to grow strongly, especially into 2017. And Asia Pacific is going to be a core part of it. Asia Pacific is expected to grow more strongly than the overall world trade growth. The overall world trade growth over the next 3 years is expected around 3.7%, but Asia is expected to grow over 6%.
All right. So global trade can only grow robustly when there's a bank of healthy environment of the financial system. But right now, the developed economies are in the process of deleveraging or even deflation. So how can we grow under this environment?
Yes, we also saw some signs of deleveraging, especially in the second half of last year. Although we expect that deleveraging activities would have peaked in the last quarter of last year. Now, in Asia alone, the financial sector, it's not weak. The local players, the regional players, and some of the big global players are still quite strong and should be able to come in and fill in that gap. And we are already seeing that trend, including HSBC. Now, the other thing that drives that would be the underlying business itself, because while the U.S. and the EU economy may be slowing down or having their own problems, but the other emerging nations are growing strongly, and even people in the developed markets, they are looking for partners for supply chain that are competitive. So what we expect is that the intra-region trades and the trade corridors among the emerging nations, like Asia Pacific with Latin America, with Middle East,
sure,
these areas would drive the trade growth going forward.
Okay, Kun Kanoksak, what is HSBC's view of China in 15 years? Now the U.S. is the world's biggest economy and China is the second. So what's your projection of China in 15 years?
This research concentrates on the trade volume. Right now, the U.S. is still the largest trade partner, if you like, the party who trade with the rest of the world.
All right.
Right now, the U.S. is still the largest. They hold a market share of some 10.7%, while China is holding a world trade market share of 9.8%.
Okay,
right?
So there's just a big difference there.
Yes. Although the percentage-wise is not big, but the volume-wise, if you are talking about the global trade volume of some $29 trillion a year,
yes,
that's huge. Now, we expect that China will continue to grow strongly against the rest of the world, and we expect China to overtake U.S. as the world's largest trading nation by 2016.
2016?
So yes.
Okay, that's only 4 years from now.
Yes.
Okay, and what's next beyond that point?
We expect that over the next 15 years, that this research paper covers, we expect that the gap will continue to widen, that Asia Pacific will continue to grow strongly against the average growth of the trade of the world.
Okay. And what about Japan and ASEAN? How do we look in the future? Are we going to be lifted along with China economically?
That's very much what we are expecting. The intra-region trade that I mentioned that are a core part of the push factor. If you look at the key trade partners of Asia, top 10, 8 of them are the intra-region countries. So these are self-creating value creation. So that will continue to drive, and China, being a core part of Asia Pacific, will help lift that. Okay. Thailand and ASEAN should benefit from that as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Kun Kanoksak, for your updates for today.
Thank you ครับ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ